You're muted. There you go.
Oh, it's muted. How about now? Have we fixed the glitch?
Thank you.
We fixed the glitch. Office Space. Come on, reference. Anyone? Oh. So yeah. As far as technology goes, I'm not a coder. I'm not a developer. I'm not an architect. Not even a programmer. But I've been in sales and marketing and logistics for 17 years in the technology space, starting with Microsoft in 1994. Anybody remember the big Windows 95 rollout? Start me up. Yeah, come on. How about Encarta? Yeah? Okay, yeah, now we're dating ourselves. The first Office Suite, yeah. So that was some of the stuff that I was doing in Seattle, and then, well, frankly, you know, just like any other community, technology breeds entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs spin off. Seattle was a big hub for the dot-com boom, especially in the 90s, but you know, that kind of took me through, you know, the development of, you know, web technologies, social technologies, gaming. I worked on some big projects with companies like Nike, did some first virtualization. How about, does anybody remember the Nike ID project? You know, where you could go and you could pick out your own shoe and you could touch it and you could change colors. Yeah, me and another really creative guy at Nike did that about, wow, 10 years ago. So, been doing this thing for a long time. And what I want to talk to you about today is about what Me Technology is. And it's not necessarily, you know, something that, it's more of a frame of mind, it's a theme. And the reason I kind of titled this my Goldfish fire, by the way, does he look guilty? He totally looked guilty. You know he did it. I'm like, dude, who did that? And it's like, I looked around, my son, he's like, it wasn't me. And it was like, but he looked guilty. But basically, Me Technology as a theme has been going on for some time. And a lot of people have been talking about it. It's been almost talked around, if you will. In fact, it's been something that, if you really kind of put together what a lot of smart people have been saying and where products have been going, and this is the presentation I'm going to show you today, is this is where product development, as far as from a consumer level, is going. And I want you to think about that as you're taking away from this. So there is definitely a delta that's growing between technology-empowered individuals and the entities that serve us. Another one that I always like to think of is, Seth Godin, my old buddy Seth. In 2003, he said this on TED. And it's not just about email anymore. It's me-mail. I have arguably, 20 different email aliases. Anybody could top that? I've got 3 Yahoo addresses, probably 6 Gmail addresses. I even have an old AOL address. Shamelessly, yeah, shamelessly. But the reason that I finally feel like I'm as organized as I am is I know exactly what's going to be in every inbox, because I kind of plug stuff into certain things. But that's the way me-mail works now, is I know exactly where I can find that kind of data. It's like if I'm signing up for a new thing, it goes into this box. If I'm going to sign up for a new social platform, it goes in this box. That way I can catalog my messaging. So when I'm talking about this, I want you to think about 3 things primarily from a Me Technology standpoint. And it's not just me. This, I could stand here for an hour and talk about me because it's my favorite subject, but I bet you guys wouldn't be as entertained. But it is a technology that serves a population of individuals. And it's got to be highly personal. What do I mean by highly personal? Is it knows everything about me. When I get an email in now, it says, hello Nathan, have you checked out our new latest line of products? It's got to be disruptive. I've got to go from, wow, this is something I just can't live without. It changes the whole game. It's like, wow, I was playing with this and now I'm going to that. It's like going from a BlackBerry to an iPhone. And it's got to be scalable. The sexiest word in business, especially if you're talking to investors, is scalability. It starts as a seed and it can grow to a tree and bear fruit. So Me Technology is all about me. It's all about you. Right now we're a room full of me's. Everybody there has a different need. When you look at this swath, I always looked at it as a business networking event. You go to a networking event and you shut the doors and there's 20 people in a room. 2 people will start to find something in common. Then maybe 3 people will start to find something in common. Pretty soon, circles start to form. Conversations start to begin. There's threads that connect us. And I'll talk more about that later. But eventually, what's going to happen over the next 5, 10 years is you're going to start seeing highly targeted product development towards populations of me's. Perfect example, Wikipedia. Wikipedia changed the game. Talk about disruptive. There's about, 5,000 Encyclopedia Britannica salespeople out of work because of Wikipedia. Not just did it change the game on how we search for information, but I can actually add to the story. I can go into a page and say, oh, wait, I was working there at the time. This is how I saw it. This is what happened. And then all the other curators can validate that. But it's, it goes from like, oh, wow, I'm just digesting this content to, oh, no. Here's a product that started small and has grown, what's it now in, how many languages? 700? So talk about scalability. It started small, but now look where it's grown. So then I think about Apple. Steve Jobs, very innovative. When he came out with the iMac, the only cool thing, oh, look at that. I'm losing half my image. But the thing about the iMac was, all he did was change the color. It was like, hey, you don't have to live in a gray world anymore. Your desktop computer can be an extension of you. It can be a color that like symbolizes what you think about when you're using this product. And it makes me like want to own it more. It made people hungry for it. A lot of people can say, marketers can say that it came out, I was free internet. That's a little passe though, it's small and focused. The I was free individual, and now you see an I in front of every product. Like iTunes. What I want you to focus on this slide is your entertainment everywhere. Your entertainment everywhere. In your hand. It didn't say, oh, this is what I want to send to you. Oh, this is what I think that you'll think is cool. It's, no, this is the stuff that I've downloaded. This is the stuff that I've created. This is my little world. And it lives on my phone. In fact, I take it with me everywhere I go. The mobile piece of technology is, it has to be mobile. It has to be everywhere. The only thing, I mean, yes, it can outperform my old PC. The Droid, absolutely. In fact, I've got an old desktop Dell that the Droid can dance circles around it. Sadly, though, how many of you have ever hit mute while on the phone call with your face? Just accidentally. Rambling on. What's for dinner? I don't know, honey. I'm thinking spaghetti. What? Are you there? Hello? Hello? Oh, damn. They're so sensitive. Biotechnology is about me. If you can say this word, you get extra credit. Right now. Right, what you said. But think about how sophisticated pharmaceutical companies will be in the future when they start designing pharmaceutical drugs around your genetic makeup.
Or words that we can pronounce.
Or words that you can pronounce. Don't count on it anytime soon. There's Pfizer, which still seems like it's spelled funny to me. But anyway, it's going to be all about that individual. They're getting smarter. They're getting more technical. They're getting more savvy. So, one of my all-time favorites, Google. All about me. In fact, it's in their mission statement. They're all about people. Their product is people. Their product is me. It bases everything that it sends to me on my selections, on what I've ranked as like a layer of my preference. no matter what I'm searching for, if I'm searching for knowledge, it knows exactly how to send information to me. If I need to know where I'm going, I use Google. In fact, I even use it for spell check sometimes because I get lazy. You know, it's just as easy just to type it up in the Google thing just to make sure I spelled the guy's name right, or I spelled the product name right, or I have something else right. In fact, it's gone so far to becoming a behavior that it went from a noun, like when I first heard it, it's like, oh, have you heard of Google? I said, oh, no, I haven't. Weird name. To now, in everyday conversation, my wife will be like, oh, you can just Google that. And now it's a verb. And now it's a behavior. And sometimes I just use it for curiosity's sake. Because I want to prove to myself, like, wait, I wasn't imagining this. I'm going to look for this on Google. And you know what? I'm feeling lucky. The problem about feeling lucky is occasionally you get kind of random stuff. Now, my goldfish is evil. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's got a gas problem, but at least it shows me that there's other people out there thinking like me. And it's starting to connect me with other me's, or people that have a connection. But mostly, what YouTube has done now is it serves you on what is relevant to you in the moment. If you want to find a video about how to make scrambled eggs, if you want, how do I change my oil on my Volvo? If it's, hey, how do I write a term paper? There are literally billions of videos on YouTube, and they'll teach you how to do anything, aside from entertain you. In fact, that's, entertainment is now kind of intertwined with the learning experience. And in fact, take entertainment and just put it over here, because I think that that's the new thing as far as where we transition from a whole push to a pull technology standpoint. Because when you think about television and video, it used to be the big three. I actually am an Arizona native. I grew up here before I moved away. There were 5 channels. There were ABC, CBS, NBC. There was the local affiliate, 15, and PBS. Good old PBS. Still holding in there at 1%. But where they dominated, now they're less than 16% combined. How dramatic is that? How sorry do you have to feel if you're NBC? It's like, we used to rule television. There used to be like the mini-series, and everybody would watch it, and then they'd go to work the next day and they would talk about it. It was something that everybody would get around. Now you have, American Idol's there, to be sure. Something like that, or other things like that. It's still the most popular show. Look at the ratings. But now, it doesn't matter, because there are 400 plus channels just for me. Whatever I want to watch. If it's a cooking show, oh, guilty pleasure, Storage Wars. Where they go and they bid on stuff. Oh yeah, oh, I got some props in the back. All right, thank you. There's nothing cooler than watching some guy bid $500 on something and find like a gold watch in there. And it's like, oh, I think I left that there. Darn it, I knew I was looking for that thing. But when you think about that kind of dilution, now take it to a whole other perspective, because now it's all about bandwidth. Again, I'm married, I have a 4-year-old son. Those people compete for my bandwidth. My son competes for my bandwidth. There's 24 hours in a day. There's only so much attention that you can give anything, whether it's work or family or yourself. And then when you're feeling like seeking out entertainment, now I have nothing but options everywhere. It's all on demand. It's all about me. It's getting so me that look at what television is going to look like in the future. I'm going to turn on the screen, because the same cable that feeds my internet, my landline, feeds my television. So what's the difference? When will we just combine the two on a mass scale, where suddenly everybody has access to anything they want at any given time? I'll be able to check my email in the middle of Law and Order. I'll be able to like respond to a Facebook post at the same time I'm watching Modern Family. It'll just be a matter of time before we get to this stage, and you know, it's one of those things where when you start looking at how people start to digest media, it's going to be a whole different game with social media in play as well. Because the fact is that, you know, there is this point where like entertainment becomes such a part of our life. Like we can rattle off characters of a show, or we can connect with those people. When you watch Storage Wars, who do you connect with of the four?
I connect with the couple.
The couple, Jared and Brandy? They're absolutely my favorites too. You know, Brandy better figure out, like, we're not here to like not bid on lockers. But where does entertainment end and life imitating art begin? I think sometime about when this angry bird knocks over all these boxes. I just don't want to have to be there to clean that up or explain it to Mom. That's the only thing. But that's still angry birds. And I don't even believe in reincarnation, but in my second life, I want to run a farm. I've already decided. I'm going to move to a farm, and I'm going to raise cattle, and I'm going to grow produce. And then that's not going to be enough, because then I'm going to surround myself with some of my favorite brands. Because now, this is about me marketing. This is about me saying, oh, this is my favorite stuff, and I might as well put it in my second life as well. This is real stuff. It's out there. And when I get lonely, I can always form a co-op. Because, you know, nothing says like, oh, a virtual second life, like getting together with other people living a second virtual life. When you start thinking about dynamic products and you get away from entertainment, and you start thinking about how a shared need or a shared issue creates a population, then me's become we's. So energy right now is a big, big topic. And energy technology is equally as compelling. In fact, the reason this slide exists, because, well, frankly, I just had to put it on there, because they listed Arizona in their ad. About electricity to power the entire U.S. could be generated if just 7% of Arizona was covered in solar cells. But yet they haven't figured out a way to pipeline that kind of that energy yet. So even if we had all the solar cells in the world, there's no infrastructure set up for it to distribute it to Cincinnati, or even Texas, or even Albuquerque. It just doesn't exist there. So the challenges around technology and around energy are going to be how to figure out how to streamline this and not only harness it for ourselves, but also to give it to everybody else. Because frankly, all of technology runs on one thing. Does anybody know what that is? Electricity. Without it, we are powerless, literally. In fact, how many times, thank you, how many times have you been sitting there at home and all of a sudden the power cuts off? And the first thing you feel is like, oh my God, what just happened? Wait, first thing you have to do is you have to process it. It's like, what? Oh, okay, the power just went out. Where are the candles? Okay, turn on the light. And how many people have hit a light switch when the power is out? Because it's just a behavior. You just walk it, ah, and then you open the fridge and the light's out. Ah, you know, it's like it literally reduces us to nothing. And you can't surf. Even if your laptop has power, your Wi-Fi connection just got disrupted. So you're literally trapped. You're trapped in your own little, like, so you might as well go outside and look at everybody else standing outside and create a little population right out in front of your place. Because ultimately, the thing that connects these we's and the thing that makes a population is the lowest common denominator. Back to that conversation about being in a business networking environment. If you take 10 people, put them in a room, people will first branch off by industry. It's like, oh, you do what I do? Okay, great. Oh, you don't do it? You're a lawyer? Okay, whatever. You're an accountant? Okay, I got you. Okay, you're in technology? All right, great. You're in computer science? All right, great. Let's talk. But there's always going to be one thing that connects all of us. And this guy found out what it was. The thing about Zuckerberg, and I got to give him credit where credit is due. You know, he kind of charged out there with a product. It wasn't the first time around. In fact, it was a parody of MySpace, which was a parody of Friendster, which was a parody of other startups. But he started to see like, whoa, you know, it's like people want to start connecting. And it wasn't just, oh, technology can be great because I can get information, or I can write a term paper, or I can research something. It was all about, oh, wait, now I can just talk to somebody. In fact, more consumers are now influenced by people they don't even know. Just people they've met on social media. Some guy in Cleveland, Ohio said something nice about a Weber grill. So now when I go to Home Depot, and when I just moved back to the Valley, I was like, oh, I need to replace my grill. I'm like, oh, Weber. That's right. Brand impression from some guy I don't even know. But I trusted him because I liked his story about grilling bratwurst, and he had to have a Weber grill. But back to Zuckerberg. So he got hired to do one job, if you've seen the movie. And he's like, okay, yeah, connect people on Harvard. Well, that was a seed idea. The scalability part was, well, wait, well, what if other universities wanted to use it? And what if it wasn't just about, you know, this exclusive thing, but it could be replicated? And I could take it to other communities. And I could build grander communities. And pretty soon, once it got to the college level, the rest kind of wrote itself. But this guy found out the lowest common denominator between 850 million people. Does anybody know what it is?
They all have Facebook?
Kevin Bacon?
Close. LinkedIn proved, by the way, LinkedIn proved we're all 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon. That's the thing that they did. We are all 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon. That's your answer when you play that game. It's spoiler alert. This is what we all have in common. That sting you feel is pride messing with you. But this is what it is. This is what we all have in common. I like you, but as long as there's stories about me. Wait, I'll post a photo of you with me standing right next to you. But that's not where it stopped, because come on, that's pretty shallow, right? So it had to be something else. So it was this. I like to know what other people more interesting to me are doing. You know, come on, who's into naked skydiving? Anyone? How about, you know, blowing up things? It doesn't matter. Oh, we got one. The fascination between what people like on Facebook and how that's so not their normal everyday life. It's like, oh, this guy just went to Mexico and he rode a donkey up a mountain. Dude, I like that. I get to live vicariously through somebody else's experience. But that person's way more interesting than me. But it's marketable because people have that connection because it connected to me. It was a subliminal thing. It was subtle, but it was very effective. So effective that another company just came around, Pinterest, that started connecting people. They were the first to kind of break out of the, oh wow, we're Facebook. We serve 850 million people worldwide. So you can't tell me they built something for everyone because Pinterest wouldn't be there. And what they were able to do is fracture off a little piece of that population and say, no, we're just going to come over here and we're going to start connecting people by their interests. In fact, there are roughly about 7 billion people on the planet. If you could create a product or a social media or an app that could connect 1 million people, would you consider that wildly successful? If you had 1 million users of your product, would you consider it wildly successful? I tell you what, investors would. Investors really would. Because this is going to happen more. Pinterest is the first. It's not going to be the last. There's going to be more segmented audiences. In fact, one of them is Armzilla. The shameless plug part of this presentation, this is a project that I'm working on. I am a Navy veteran. Oh, there I am, right there. It's marketing to me. That was my ship over there, the USS Cushing. When I landed on the home page, there was some messaging that was spoke to me and pulled me in. And it's not just about connecting on Facebook anymore. It's about carving out this military niche and saying, hey, here's another place where we can hang out and talk and share our stories and share our content. But cooler than that is that we have something that we're very proud of. Oh, look at that guy. 21, my life ahead of me. 20 years later, look where I am. So this is our patent pending technology key points. It is, we got it out there before Facebook and Timeline, just so you know. But it's something where we can chronologically now map out a service member's time in the military, their stories, what they did, you know, the ranks that they achieved, the places they went, and we're starting to connect them by their unit, their military unit, and we're fostering that emotional connection that you had with the people that you served with, that brotherhood that you served with. So this is right here in the Valley, and this is how I did meet Shelly and essentially came to UAT, because we are going to bring technology here. I'm going to fight for it. In fact, we did a number to extract this company from San Jose to bring it here, specifically to Scottsdale, because of that one thing that I told you about, electricity. When I lived up in Portland, Oregon, I noticed that 5 of the largest companies in the world had built server farms along the Columbia River because they wanted access to power. Arizona, west of the Rockies, has the second most affordable power. So you're going to start to see Phoenix become more of a technology hub based on its availability and its access to electricity. And as I'm generating all this stuff, it's all going to be about data. These companies that have these server farms out there, YouTube, Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook. I have all this content out there. I'm posting stuff on Flickr. I'm posting stuff on Twitter. I've got random home videos. It's not user-generated content. It's me-generated content. I don't want to be called a user. Does anybody else want to be called a user? When I think about cloud technology, cloud computing technology, all I can think about is, yeah, it would be really great if we had that for a company. It'd be really great if I had that for me. Because I could have all this content, instead of all this stuff living on Facebook, which now it owns, or if I have all this stuff living on LinkedIn, which now it owns. By the way, yeah, read the registration process when you click on that box, that permission-based. It's a big thing. Photos I'm posting, my work history. What about medical history? What if that could all follow me around? What if I could search me? So real world, true story. I was just traveling. I got to the airport, confirmation number. I'm trying to check in with my flight. Darn it, I forgot my confirmation number. So I go to my many emails and I'm like, well, I could search through all of them, and I went to the first one I thought it was going to be in and it wasn't there. So now I'm really mad. Because now I have no idea where this email is, this confirmation email. All I wanted to do was go to one place. If it was nathanwagner.me and type in confirmation number and have that come, and I would have access to it. Or if I just randomly, while I was traveling, got hit by a car and my leg was broken and I got wheeled into a hospital and people were asking me for my insurance information, I'd go, oh, here. Oh, and here's my complete medical history. It would be on my person at all times. What if I could have, anytime I wanted to show somebody, it's like, oh man, this is my really cool trip to Hawaii, I got this one photo, you're going to love it. Instead of having to go to Facebook and log in and do all that, what if I could just have it in my cloud? My cloud. And I'm glad the guy that was talking about security presented before me, because if I have everything on one cloud, I don't want you on it. It's going to have to be secure. It's going to have to be, simple gateway access. But these data service providers, there's a real opportunity here. And I'm not just asking you to believe me on this. I just read this in the paper this morning, that there are 8,500 jobs coming to the state for cloud computing. But it's just B2B. So far, they're just so focused on B2B. Wait till they start focusing on B2C. Because there's millions of companies out there, but there's 7 billion people out there. And how do I know this trend is real besides that article? Apple's doing it. iCloud, my cloud, me cloud. Data management for individuals. It's got to be secure, to be sure. It's also got to be mobile. It's got to be everywhere I go. I have to have access to it. And if I have to have access to it, it's got to be reliable. I can't worry about Chrome interface, Firefox, whatever browser I'm using. It should work. And there's that word again, scalable. Sexiest word in business. So why am I telling you all this? Why am I telling you all this? Again, I don't write code, but I've sold a lot of stuff. In fact, I've pitched for VC funding. I was involved with the first, I would say the first application for mobile marketing. Text this to get this. I was pitching that in 2006 when people thought I was crazy. And I said, oh yeah, this is how crazy it is. Everybody got their phone on them? Take it out. Please, take your phone out. Anyone? Anyone? Come on. Huh? Mine's shiny. Is yours shiny? So I would say pull up your favorite app, or maybe your contact list. Something that's really personal. Something like maybe a photo of something you're doing something completely ridiculous that you would not want to see on Facebook. All right. Has everybody got something? It could be Angry Birds. Now, how would you feel if I said, now give this to the person to your left for the rest of my presentation and let him play with it? How would you feel? Would you do it? Anyone? It's an extension of you, this mobile device. It is all about you. And in fact, it's so much so that when we lose it, we freak out. In fact, it's top number one, top 4 answers on the board. Here's the question. If you were leaving home, what would you feel, what would you absolutely drive 20 miles back home for if you left it behind at work? Audience answer. Number 1 answer, cell phone. Wallet, you're like, wallet. I'll just get Bob to buy me lunch. He owes me lunch anyway. You know, you're not going to leave without your car keys. You know, phone, number 1 answer. But again, why am I telling you all this? Because I care. Because I want you guys to sell your products. I want you guys to get out there and think about this, because the true inventors out there, me, technology loves idea people. And when you start working on your product, and let me tell you, I've met so many guys. I remember the first time I met this guy in 1998. His name was Kurt, and he said, "Hey, I want to do this thing. It's called we got to advertise on the web. We got to like advertise on websites." I was like, "How are we going to advertise on websites?" He's like, "Well, there's got to be a way, because there's a lot of sites to go to." There was a limited number of sites, actually. In 1998, there was, you could probably count on, like, you know, everybody's hand how many websites there were out there. Everybody wanted one. But the fact is, there just wasn't a lot out there. There wasn't a lot of choices, not like there is today. In fact, you can't like exist without one now. We were trying to sell banner advertising. And we were trying to figure out like how somebody could post an ad on a site to get you to another site. So I was out there, and I'm in my sales mode, and I'm calling on people. And the thing that I was able to put together was, when people were getting new PCs at the time, what was it loaded with? What browser?
Internet Explorer.
AOL. Come on, you hated me for it earlier. Every computer in 1998, 1999 came with Internet Explorer and AOL, already loaded. And AOL was set up for banner advertising, not like a site was. There were no bloggers then. So I convinced AOL, I convinced the people at Norwegian Cruise Line to say, hey, what if you're targeting affluent families, AOL is starting to get into selling advertising, let's put a banner ad on AOL. And these people that are buying computers, when they pull it up, there's the ad. And it was an ad basically that clicked to a survey, because you could win a free cruise. If you said, hey, when you're thinking about vacation, where would you go? Would you go to a beach? Would you go to Mexico? Would you do this? Would you go to Alaska? But we captured all that data. And in fact, we did so well that our servers crashed. Because that was before we realized that there was a volume activity problem. And we had challenges. But the fact is, we built something that we thought was so cool, but people weren't able to use it yet. And it was really disappointing when it went down. And our client wasn't very happy either. So I targeted the individual. I went right after that family. Were they willing and able to use it? Yes, they were. Did I know how to connect them yet? No, I didn't know how to connect them yet. Social media helped me with that. That's what helped me figure that out. But that lowest common denominator does give us that opportunity when you can start to say, hey, I was in the Navy. Oh, I'm a veteran. You're a veteran. I met you at the campus.
Yes, I remember that now.
In a room full of people, I already have a connection with somebody that's common to me. You're a veteran. It starts to grow as you start to find that thread. And then that's when you start to form a community. But the coolest thing about all of this is when you're starting to feel really crazy, like you're the only one that thinks that goldfish really fart, and you go out there and search it, chances are you can find one other person that did too. He's like, my goldfish fart. I'm like, OMG. Mine did too. I'm not crazy. Thank you very much. Any questions? Any future salespeople out there, marketing people, application developers, mobile developers? I'll have a little stack of cards up here. I invite you to reach out to me anytime. We are here in the Valley. We are recruiting, and look forward to a long relationship with the University of Advanced Technology. Thank you very much for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nathan. And he'll be around afterwards if you have some more personal questions you want to ask him. Feel free to drop off your feedback cards. Up next will be the NSA in just a few minutes, so feel free to come up and drop these off, and we'll be back with you. Thanks.